Jon Jones is the GOAT, plain and simple. There's a lot of rhetoric going around right now because he beat Stipe Miocic, the best heavyweight of all time, or at least in the UFC. That's an argument for another day. But anyways, the argument is going around like, is he the GOAT? Yada yada. Does losing to Tom Aspinall hurt his GOAT status? Guess what? It doesn't matter. MMA is about what have you done. And there's a lot of people out there that'll tell you, you know, records don't matter, and it's what they did at the peak that matters. And Jon Jones at his peak is fantastic, yes. But I'm not of the mindset that your record doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, I'm of the mindset that your record's the only thing that matters. If you look horrible but you keep winning and winning and winning and winning, what else can you say? Before we get into this episode, take a second, consider subscribing to the channel via memberships or via Substack. Either one of those, you can go and pledge $5 a month, super cheap, and you support me making videos like Fight Finders 5, which comes out tomorrow. Like, think about it. Dricus du Plessis, everybody can't stand, and I get it. Dricus is a really obnoxious to watch fighter. But I will say, he's the champion, and he wins. The only thing that matters is winning. Now, there is something to be said about, you know, Jon Jones picking to fight Alex Pereira over Tom Aspinall, who should get the shot at the title next. Yes, I get that. But to discount Jon Jones because he looked bad against Thiago Santos, Dominic Reyes, Anthony Smith, those last three fights, Ovince St. Preux even, you just can't do it. You can't, because he keeps winning. So yes, UFC 309, he beat Stipe Miocic. Stipe's washed. He hadn't fought in 42 years. He's 42 years old. He hadn't fought in 3 years. I know, guys, I know. But at the same time, like, you've got Jon Jones out here. He came out and everybody criticized him. Like, oh, we don't know what we know about Jon Jones at heavyweight because he just finished Cyril Gane in less than a round. Well, we got 3 rounds of Jon Jones now. Almost 3 rounds of Jon Jones against Stipe Miocic. Did he look like he used to? No, but he's older. Part of being great and staying great is adapting to what your body can do. Jon Jones knew he was the faster guy. His leg kicks looked fast. They looked slower than normal than what we're used to him having, but they were still faster than Stipe, so he knew what he had to do to win that fight. He goes in there, first round was fantastic, so he goes with all these leg kicks, and Stipe's not liking him. All the body kicks Stipe is not like, he's turning into him and stuff, and trying to do what he can to win the fight. And Jon Jones gets Stipe to the fence, steps up high as if to kick with, I think, his left foot, if I'm not mistaken, and then steps behind as Stipe turns and crosses his feet and just pushes him to the ground. Beautiful. Beautiful. And it just goes to show you that Jon Jones, who has been training with Gordon Ryan, who was in his corner, and Gable Steveson, he's still a good wrestler. We forget this about Jon Jones. Like, I remember somebody like Jon Jones, it was MMA Guru, was like, Jon Jones has never been a ground fighter. Like, bro, what? Or something like that. It was on Twitter. But when Jon Jones was on top of Stipe, I'm inclined to believe he would do that to anybody that he's on top of. Like, once he's on top of you, game over. Because you're dead. You finished. It's it. It's over. Jon Jones versus Curtis Blades, Tom Aspinall, Alex Pereira, Stipe Miocic. It doesn't matter if he's on top of you. It's game over. You could put Fabricio Verdum in his prime underneath him, and Jon Jones is smashing him out. And that's what he did to Miocic in the first round. Second round comes around, and it looked like, you know, Jones kind of was like, all right, so let's start working the striking a little bit. Let's working the kicking. His jab was working good. Jon's striking, you know, has never been, you know, the greatest. He was always more about the kicks, and he showed a lot of kicks in this fight. So, you know, that was good. But he let his foot off the gas after he had Miocic hurt. And I was kind of upset with that about Jon Jones. But I was also thankful because if we had, you know, another round of that, the first round, like, the fight probably would have been over with. Like, I don't know, man. Something about him was just, he finds ways to win. You know? He finds ways to win, and he wins. That's all that matters to him. Now, he's regressed, yes. But so has Miocic, and there's a reason why he took this fight. It's because Stipe Miocic has regressed. But Stipe's a big name. Jon Jones knows in 10 years, nobody's going to remember, like, oh yeah, Stipe, washed. You know, he wasn't that great of a fighter. When Jon Jones fought him, think about Rocky Marciano. You don't think that, like, the Joe Louis that he fought was, like, pretty much had a foot in the grave. You know he's 49-0. These little antecedents are going to be brought up by the little annoying guys. They're like, yeah, but, you know, he beat Stipe. It's a good name to have on his resume. A fantastic name to have. The finish was amazing, though. The finish was vintage Jon Jones. I mean, you got the picture of him and, you know, his belly's kind of... I got no room to talk here, to be real, guys. But, like, his belly's kind of, you know, got the creases in and it's folding over a little bit. You know, you can tell Jon Jones is a heavyweight in this picture. But he's landing it to the side of Stipe Miocic, and boy, it looks like it hurts. Because it does. The spinning back kick, something he used all night. He attacked the body all night with that little teep kick. It was a Jon Jones performance like we remembered. Or it looked at least like Jon Jones. It wasn't like the Thiago Santos, Ryan, Anthony Smith, and then Dominic Reyes fights where it looked like this is not the same fighter at all. This is not the same guy that went to war with Gustafsson, DC, cleaned out Rampage and Rashad and Machida and Belfort. This is not the same guy. But, like, it's not. He's much older, sure. He is much older. But, boy, let me tell you. There's something about Jon Jones that just keeps on winning. And, look, I don't like Jon Jones as a person. I think he's got his problems. I'm happy he's found his religion, hopefully. He's been spouting that for years, though, and it seems like he doesn't actually want to be. He just wants to... I'm not at liberty to say that, so I'm going to take that back. But I'm happy that he brings all that stuff up. You know, if this is what makes him a better person, please, for the love of God, keep doing it. You need it, Jon Jones. You're almost 40 years old. We can't have you getting in any more trouble, even if you retire. So is he going to retire? Probably. I could see the UFC making him versus Alex Pereira. The Saudis can throw money at it, or whoever can throw money at it. Or just the simple fact that it would sell over 1 million pay-per-views. Like that, the biggest stars fighting right now, yeah. And Jon Jones runs through Alex Pereira, even at this point. It is a pointless fight to have. But it's the last linchpin in a career of Jon Jones that would pretty much be, you know, that you can't top it. You know, you never can top it. Jon Jones is the GOAT, and that's all there is to it. And if he beats Alex Pereira, that's like the third or fourth generation fighter he's beaten. You know, but I digress. That fight's not happening yet. The fight that needs to happen, obviously, is Tom Aspinall. I question, you know, Jon Jones is smart. I don't think Tom Aspinall's taking him down. Oh, yes, Tom Aspinall's quicker than him. Tom Aspinall's faster than him. Sure. But Jon Jones, I don't know. Like, I think Tom Aspinall wins, but Jon Jones is definitely not, like, getting destroyed in that fight. He's not getting knocked out. He's incredibly durable. He's always been incredibly durable. Like, even with, like, Max Holloway, we've seen, like, oh, the chin goes at some time, but you can't hit Jon Jones. He puts his fingers in your face like this, and he did it to Stipe all night. Poor Miocic looked ancient, too. He looked incredibly old. You know, we saw some things that Stipe did, but like his punches, like the pop, he pulled like right crosses that he had, like Jones leaning on. He would pop right cross down, and he just couldn't get it done. Like, I felt bad for Stipe because, yeah, he's old man. He is retired, and it makes sense why he's retired now. He needed to hang it up. He knew he didn't have it anymore. He knew, but this one last payday, this opportunity to fight Jon Jones, couldn't pass it up, and I don't blame him. So yeah, happy for Jon. I hope he rides off into the sunset. I don't want to see him versus Aspinall. I mean, I don't want to see him versus Pereira. If anything, I want to see it versus Aspinall. That's it. So as chaotic as heavyweight is, let's strip Jon Jones. If he wants to come back and fight somebody good, we give him a title shot or whoever he wants or whoever we want him to book him with. And let's make Tom Aspinall the heavyweight champion and keep the division moving. That's it. So, let's talk about cheating Michael Chandler, boy, because he is as cheating as it gets. Wow. His fight with Charles Oliveira, nowhere near as electric as the first fight where both of them were dropped. This fight, we got a Michael Chandler that decided, hey, I'm going to be dirty. Now, in the preview to this show, the preview episode, we talked about how Michael Chandler took all this time off chasing the Conor McGregor fight, and it didn't happen. So now we were pulling for Michael Chandler. I completely forgot his dirty fight with Dustin Poirier. And Michael Chandler was just as dirty in this fight, if not more. There's only 2 fouls he didn't commit in this fight. He didn't kick him in the nuts, and he didn't knee him while he's down. And I bet you he wanted to try. I mean, in the first minute of the fight, Michael Chandler poked him in the eye, grabbed inside the glove, and grabbed the top of the fence. The first minute of the fight. Dirty. He is dirty. Now, when it comes to steroid abuse, which I'm sure... Never mind, I won't go there. I could get in trouble. But when it comes to steroid abuse, I'm like, okay, that's a cool cheat and you should do that. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, like, dude, the rules are there for a reason. Let's abide by them because Oliveira's going to be abiding by him too. And Oliveira said, hey, hold on. We cheating? Oh, we really cheating? Okay, let's cheat. Oliveira got dirty too, but only in response to Michael Chandler. Now, I'll say this. Charles Oliveira is not traditionally a dirty fighter. He will grab the inside of the glove sometimes, sure. But this was a different type of cheat. He grabbed the fence. He grabbed the inside of the glove. And my favorite was when he was on top of Michael Chandler, he's raking his chin across the eyes of Michael Chandler, trying to make his life miserable as he had him on top. You could tell Michael Chandler's old in this fight, though. He had nothing for Charles Oliveira. Oliveira's takedowns were fantastic, and it really did look like he's working on his wrestling because he knows if Arman Tsarukyan doesn't win, we might be having Michael Chandler or Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev too. That would be a fun fight, especially after seeing Oliveira here at UFC 309. He looked great. His wrestling was on point. He managed to get around to the back, and he made Chandler think about fighting the hands first before dragging him backwards while tripping him over the feet. Great performance from Oliveira. His snap kick to the front. He kept kicking the arms. He kept, he was safe most of the fight. I was really, really impressed with what Oliveira brought to the table. But then again, you got to remember Chandler hadn't fought in those years. He hadn't fought in a long time. So this could be one of those performances like, oh, Oliveira, he's good, but he's not that good. We saw Tsarukyan control him on the ground, and we said that was going to be the whole point of Michael Chandler's approach here. Yeah. Instead, it was Oliveira controlling Michael Chandler on the ground. I'm getting my words mixed up here, boys. Let's see here. Let's go to the fight real quick because I want to see how much control time Oliveira had. Look at that. We had a 25-minute fight, 14:52 of control time. Let's see if I can. There we go. 14:52 of control time for Charles Oliveira. 3 rounds almost. He just had to get to the takedown. 3 rounds he controlled him for. Incredible performance from Oliveira. One of those that you're like, okay, after we see Michael Chandler cheating and trying to do everything he can to win, I get it. But the right guy won. You don't want cheaters to get to the top of the sport because it's not cool. You really don't want that. So, Michael Chandler, as after the Poirier fight and after this, we're going to talk about every time how he's dirty. He wants to be this good guy, this, that, and the other, and put off this persona. But on the other side of the equation, he's dirty, and he fights. He grabs the inside of the glove, which is frustrating to see because you're a good fighter, Michael Chandler. You don't need to cheat. But here we are with you cheating against a guy that everybody loves, Oliveira. Now, it was crazy. The cheating, what came to a crescendo. I talked about, him grabbing the top of the fence off the first takedown and all that. But what really happened was Charles Oliveira took a bad shot, right? He took a bad takedown, and Chandler managed to... there was a moment in the fight where Chandler had the good wizard. He tried to kick him out, and that didn't work. I wanted to touch on that real quick. So, like, when Oliveira would shoot, so we're rewinding for a second. We're not going to the back of the head yet. Chandler managed to grab the wizard or the overhook, whatever you want to call it, and he turns and he tries to kick out, and Oliveira manages to drive through and keep the body lock and stuff. But it's really cool to see some of the wrestling come through. But no, Oliveira took the bad takedown, and Michael Chandler's like, all right, well, I got nothing to lose. I've lost this fight if I don't knock him out. So let me hit him in the back of the head about 15 times. Literally. Hammer fist in the back of his head. Boom, boom, boom. Over and over and over. And the announcer's like, he's going to the back of the head. He's going to the back of the head. Yes, he was. Horrible. Very, very disrespectful. And I don't really appreciate it. Oliveira managed to get to his back. And it's like, okay, yeah, well, he's good. Oliveira stayed safe. Finally, after he Chandler was on top, Oliveira uses the guard really good to create scramble so he can get up. And he managed to get on the back of Michael Chandler. And then at the very end, Chandler stands up. He says, F it. And in a really cool moment, he, boom, slams him on the back. And you always think to yourself, like, oh, if somebody's on my back, I'd just, boom, slam him. And, yeah, no. If he knows what he's doing, if he got to your back like that, you're done anyway, so you might as well just tap. And Oliveira did the whole Mariah kissing, not quite like he did to Sean O'Malley, but he did kiss him twice on the back. It was kind of like, all right, bro, we can't be kissing in the cage. No kissing allowed in the cage. The refs already told us this. We're not kissing in the cage. It's a shame you can't kiss the boys in the cage, though. Like, if I were to plant a smooch on Michael Chandler's forehead like that, I should be able to. There's nothing in the rules that is against kissing, is there? Or there might be. But I just want to kiss the homies in the cage, okay? I just want to do that. All right, Bo Nickal. Let's change subject here. Bo Nickal. He is ice cold with everybody right now. Bo Nickal, 2 bad performances in a row. Cody Brundage and now Paul Craig at UFC 309. Is that really a bad thing, though? This fight, Bo Nickal didn't attempt one takedown. So you got to ask yourself, like, what was he trying to do? What was he trying to accomplish? And did he accomplish it? Bo Nickal needs rounds, and he needs to work on his striking. That's the 2 things he needs to do most if he wants to be a legitimate contender at 185, or in MMA, period. He took an opponent where he can easily take him down, or he can easily strike with him. But he has a really good name. Paul Craig's a good name to have on his resume at this point, right? So what Bo Nickal's trying to do here is work on his striking and make sure he can go the distance. And he worked on his striking, and he went the distance. Was it great? No. These are the type of fights that traditionally happen on the regional scene or on an Apex card. Somebody on Twitter said that. Let me see who said that while we talk about it. This type of fight does not happen on pay-per-view main events. And it was Neo. Shout out Neo. He said, that's Bo's. I tweeted out and I said, I get that Bo Nickal didn't do what everyone expects, but those type of fights are required and usually don't happen on pay-per-view main cards. And Neo said, that's Bo's main issue with the fans. He fights infrequently, true, once every 6 months, and he fights on pay-per-views and puts his butt in the apex on the prelims, and no one will give a F word, especially if he does so 3 times a year. People won't say one bad thing about it, and they're spot on. Neo's spot on with that. So shout out. Bo Nickal's a regional level fighter with a high, sky high potential. He really could achieve great things in this sport. But fans, he wants to have the pressure put on his shoulders. He's been here before, though. He's been at the Olympic level, or almost to the Olympic level. The number 2 wrestler in his division. He was, NCAA champion, 4-time All-American. He's incredible. He's been to the top. He just can't let the pressure like this ruin him. Okay? Don't go out there. And you do what you need to do. And he went out there, and everybody's like, he's just winging overhand right. He did a lot of good things. Some of the low kicks, Paul Craig did a good job of checking low kicks, so he figured that out real quick that, hey, if these get checked, I need to do something different. I need to set them up. He'll see that in film study, and he'll set them up, sure. But he had some good times coming over the top. He had some good options where he would come over with his left hand, and as Paul Craig was kicking, and he had an opportunity for a knee tap where he grabs the leg and he pushes over like that to get the takedown, but Bo Nickal didn't want to take him down. But he had some opportunities there. He created them. I'd really like to see Bo Nickal get really good with a high guard too. Like, okay, let's go. Come with some uppercuts and stuff like that. I think he's got the frame and he's stocky enough and he's got enough power to where that could really cause some problems. So, yeah, he's ice cold with the fans, Bo Nickal is, but we're not going to talk bad about him because he did a good job of working on what he needed to work on. What else is on this card here? Viviana Rujao defeated Karine Silva. Okay, you know, whatever. That was a fight that happened. I won't put too much stock in that. Mauricio Ruffy, though, that's my dog. Oh, why didn't y'all tell me about him? Why didn't you tell me? All right, we're going to pause here for a second. Why didn't you guys comment in my comments and tell me, hey, you're overlooking Mauricio Ruffy? You're overlooking him because he's fun, he's good, and you really need to watch him. This cat's awesome. He gets behind. He's got this slight shoulder roll. He gets behind, and he gets behind for that lead left hook, and he puts people away. James Ellentop didn't stand a chance, and he came in, and he was ready to fight. I've never watched James Ellentop before, but 14-4. You know, he's 2 fights on the trot out of the UFC after a Contender Series win. He's probably not going to be around, but this win from Mauricio Ruffy, boy, let me tell you, this was a highlight reel performance. He did some crazy things. He had a lot of opportunities where he was landing and dropping him. He was hurting him with the left hook, like I mentioned. And he did a good job of finding creative strikes. So he did this one where he's boom, boom. He leaned to the outside and then comes with an up elbow. Didn't land, but it was cool, and I think he's going to land that one day. He's a creative striker. So the next time he fights, guys, we're doing a video on him for sure because he is a blast to watch. What else happened on this card? Let's see. Let's go back to our main page, UFC 309. Let's see. Marcus McGee beat Jonathan Martinez. It was a decent fight. Marcus McGee is a decent fighter. Jim Miller guillotined Damon Jackson. Something Dustin Poirier wishes he could do is jump and secure a guillotine. Jim Miller still winning fights. I think it's like 1-1 every time. No, he was all 2. Okay, so never mind. We're not going to talk bad about Jim Miller again. Great to see him win. Now, Marcin Tybura, we mentioned that he's hot or cold. He fought Johanna Deniz, and he got on top and just smashed him out. Really bloody affair. Ramis, I don't know how to say his name, turned off Mickey Gall. Like, he just... Oban Elliott beat Basil Hafayez, and then Eduardo Mora, and beat everybody's, like, sweetheart Veronica Hardy. Everybody likes that. Really happy that Chris Weidman didn't fight. You see, that was canceled. It sounded like he was just sick to his stomach or something. I'm not going to say the card was great, guys. I'm not. It was interesting, and some historic things definitely happened, but it wasn't a great card. You know, now we got this UFC China event coming up next week, so that's going to be fun. Catch that on the post-fight show. I was tired, so I didn't get to do a stream because I was at Game Bread FC the night before. I was like dead tired. I went to bed at like 7:30 to watch the fights this morning. But next week, since there's no fights on, we're going to do a Let's Watch for UFC 2. That's going to be very fun, and you won't want to miss that. Come hang out and chill in the chat while we watch UFC fights. Very old ones right now. We talked about Alex Pereira a little bit in this fight card, or a little bit in this video, and he's a really interesting case study. And if you really want to learn about the left hook, and Mauricio Ruffy used this a lot too, but if you really want to know how Pereira fights, how his low kicks work, and just what his ticks are, this film study right here is where you want, baby. It's what you want. It's definitely something you should check out.